Adultery, forbidden love, and betrayals at the highest levels of government delve into the heartbreaking inner workings of the Danish royal family. This captivating story reveals the tensions, hidden passions, and decisions that shook the monarchy. A royalty-free report not to be missed. Subscribe to never miss the most fascinating royal stories. Like, share, and let us know in the comments what you think. Let's dive into this royal whirlwind together. Adultery and forbidden love. Emotional chaos within the Danish royal family. These words resonate like a clap of thunder in the apparent silence of the Nordic monarchy, usually so discreet, so smooth, so perfectly controlled. But behind the closed doors of the palaces and the calibrated smiles during public appearances, an intimate and dramatic score is playing out, where love, betrayal, and duty collide in a waltz that baffles even the most fervent supporters of the Danish crown. What the world is about to discover is the tumult of a family gripped by its own contradictions. For beyond protocol and decorum, there are hearts beating, glances deviating, and oaths broken in the secrecy of the alcoves. The story begins like a fairy tale. Mary Donaldson, a young Australian with a radiant smile, meets Prince Frederik of Denmark in Sydney in 2000 during the Olympic Games. An unexpected, almost banal encounter, which has become a symbol of modernity for a centuries-old monarchy. It was love at first sight, and the romance blossomed in secret until the royal wedding celebrated with great pomp in 2004. Mary then became crown princess, and then, with the death of Queen Margrethe in 2024, Queen of Denmark alongside her husband, now King Frederik X. But behind this idyllic image of a model couple lie deep cracks, poorly healed wounds, and a growing number of unspoken words. And above all, a persistent, insidious rumor that has become a media storm, that of royal adultery. According to several sources close to the palace and European publications, King Frederik is said to have had a discreet but lasting affair with a woman he met during his official trips to Spain. Some even mention a renowned journalist, cultured, elegant, herself married to an influential man. Stolen photos, overly lingering glances at official events, unexplained absences, the elements are accumulating and forming a disturbing web. Mary, for her part, reportedly discovered the facts at the end of 2023. A personal shock, a personal earthquake, which was carefully concealed from the public. Several sources claim that she considered temporarily leaving Denmark with her children to reflect. Others speak of a family mediation organized in the greatest secrecy at Fredensborg Palace, involving the couple's closest advisors, as well as Queen Emeritus Margrethe, anxious to avoid a public crisis on the eve of her abdication. Tensions are at their peak, but everything is done to ensure that the apparent unity of the royal couple is never compromised, at least in front of the cameras. The palace, faithful to its policy of silence, refuses to comment. But the Danes, for their part, observe. And they remember. They remember Mary's melancholic gaze during certain ceremonies, the official trips taken solo, the more measured words, the more distant tone between her and Frederik. A far cry from the displays of affection that characterized their early years. The fairy tale seems to be wavering, as if caught in an emotional storm. For if adultery is a human tragedy, it becomes a matter of state when it affects those supposed to embody unity, fidelity, and exemplarity. Speculation intensifies in November 2024, when a Spanish tabloid publishes a series of photos showing King Frederik with a brunette woman in a Madrid hotel. The images are blurry, taken from a distance, but doubt sets in. The affair then crossed the kingdom's borders, relayed by the British, French, and then Australian press. Mary, for her part, remained dignified, silent, and irreproachable. But her sartorial choices became messages: a strict black dress at a state gala, an icy look exchanged with Frederik on the red carpet, a conspicuous absence from an international conference to which she had nevertheless been invited. The pressure was becoming unbearable. The Danish people, deeply attached to Mary, saw in her a figure of integrity, a strong woman who embraced a royal destiny with rare elegance. Support was evident in the streets, on social media, and in letters addressed to the palace. Some columnists were already speaking of an institutional crisis. For the adultery, beyond the intimate, called into question the legitimacy of a king whose reign only began in January 2024. How could one embody national unity when one's own family was divided? How could one call for loyalty when trust had been broken at the highest levels? Yet, despite the uproar, Mary made a radical decision in February 2025. She agreed to continue her role as queen, but on her own terms. A reorganization of the royal schedule was decided upon. The couple now appeared separately at certain events. Mary focuses on mental health and youth education, while Frederik serves as military and diplomatic representative. A delicate balance, but one essential to the stability of the kingdom. In private, discussions continue. The royal couple consult, talk, and try to rebuild. For the children, for the country, but also perhaps out of love. For despite everything, despite the wounds, despite the humiliation, Mary has never publicly condemned Frederik. And he, for his part, has never confirmed the rumor. Nor has he ever tried to dispel it. As if silence, in this affair, were tantamount to confession. The Danish people are still watching. And with them, Europe. For this story goes beyond a simple scandal. It raises questions about the humanity of kings, their flaws, their ability to endure hardship while embodying the nation. It also questions the role of women in modern monarchies. Must they endure everything in the name of protocol? Must they sacrifice their happiness for image? Mary, by refusing to flee, by standing firm, redefines in her own way the role of queen consort in the contemporary world. But at what cost? For every public appearance is now scrutinized. Every gesture, every smile, every word becomes a subject for analysis. And the wound, though it seems to be healing, is not forgotten. The palace remains silent, but the collective emotion does not wane. What was supposed to remain a private affair has become a national narrative. And what was a fairy tale love story has become the setting for a universal human drama. So, Denmark holds its breath. And the world wonders, in this shattered monarchy, can Mary and Frederik still write a new chapter together, or is their love forever trapped by taboo?